So first you need to understand why there are some people who get offended at some remark or joke, while there are others who absolutely just take it as a complete joke and just laugh at it with taking zero offense. The only difference between this person who laughs with the group and this person who gets laughed at by the group is self-esteem. The higher your self-esteem is, the more resistant you're going to be to insults. And the more kind of remarks towards you and jokes and everything you're gonna see is just jokes and you're gonna laugh it off. If you want to learn to improve your self-esteem, you can check out the first link in the description. But basically, that is the only reason that someone like your, let's say, that friend that we all have, who people either make fun of him or they tell him like they joke with him, they make fun of him, they talk shit towards him, but he never takes any offense and he always laughs with the group. If you ever wondered how that friend functions and how he's able to take all of these remarks and comments that you personally would have probably gotten offended at and just laugh them off and never take offense, again, the sole reason is that his self-esteem is so high that these remarks do not affect him in the same way. Because the only way that a remark, right, that a comment can offend you, especially a negative comment, is if you believe that it is true, or if you have at least even a little bit, even 1% of belief that it is true. If someone tells you you're ugly and you're 100% full of yourself, you have high self-esteem, you respect yourself a lot, and you know that that is not true 100%, you're not going to get offended for it. But if you believe even 1% that that remark might be true, you're instantly going to get a little bit offended. The reason that friend is able to not get offended at any remark is that he, not even for a millisecond, thinks that any of these remarks are true, if they're negative, of course. And so he doesn't even see them as attacks, as you might see someone telling you, like, maybe a bit of a funny way that you're kind of ugly or that you're kind of short or whatever. He doesn't even see them as attacks or as negative things. He knows that they're 100% not true, or he believes that they're 100% not true. They don't affect him, and so he just sees them as jokes, not as personal attacks. And one life hack as well that you can do to completely deal with anyone who's genuinely just trying to bully you, because a lot of these people who kind of say something that you might get offended at, they don't actually try to be offensive. They try to kind of be funny, and maybe they fail, maybe they kind of aren't very socially calibrated, so they offend you accidentally. But a lot of the time, there are going to be people who are just going to want to offend you and who are just going to want to make fun of you. And one way that you deal with bullies, basically these guys are bullies, without getting into a physical altercation, which you can always do, but generally try to get it in self-defense. It's just going to go easier in court and everything. So if they don't attack, generally, good rule of thumb, don't attack either. But the way that you can kind of fend off the bullies, intellectually without getting physical, is to just agree with the insult. What this means is, let's say they call you fat. What they're trying to get out of you is you get kind of offended, you kind of start being defensive, like, I'm not fat, whatever, I'm, thick-boned. And on that, they can kind of jump off that defense that you have and make even more fun of you. But now imagine if when they insulted you, you actually agreed with them, right? Let's say they said, you're a dumbass. And instead of saying like, no, I'm not, whatever, you just say, yeah, bro, I am. You have no idea. By agreeing with them, now you're taking away all of their power. Because what are they going to do? They call you stupid, you say, yeah, I'm pretty stupid. What are they going to say? Ha, yeah, you are. It doesn't work. It only works if you say, no, I'm not stupid, and they're again, yeah, you are stupid. But if you're like, you agree with them, and you even double down, like, bro, you have no idea how stupid I actually am, right? Without really trying to be, like, without forcing it. Because if you force it and it's obvious that you're forcing it, it's not going to come off as natural, it's not going to work. So you don't actually have to force it unless it comes to you naturally. Just, if he says you're dumb, you say, yeah, I am pretty dumb. Boom, instantly just block them off, he has nothing to go off of. So you might change the topic, be like, you're ugly, and you say, yeah, I am pretty ugly. Instantly. If you say it in this way where it's like also obvious that you do not get offended, you do not get offended at it because again your self-esteem is high, you just absolutely dealt with the bully and he has nothing left. He has no ammunition left to attack you with. That is the way that you fend off bullies, either when it's in school or anyone who's trying to be mean. Okay, so how do you actually get higher self-esteem, right? If you learned from this video, if you watched this far, you learned that self-esteem is like the armor against getting offended. And then agreeing with the offense or with the insult is like the sword that you use to fight off the bullies, right? So how do you actually raise your self-esteem? Well, it's fairly simple. Self-esteem is equivalent to your self-respect. The more you respect yourself, the higher self-esteem you have. And the way that you improve your self-respect is you just stop lying to yourself and you start doing what you say you do. If you had a person who every time you would tell them to do something, they would say, okay, I'm going to do it, but then they wouldn't do it, would you have a lot of faith and respect in that person? No, you wouldn't. This is what you do to yourself constantly. You say you're going to start a diet, but tomorrow you're eating junk food. You say you're going to start waking up at 5 a.m., but tomorrow you sleep in. You say you're going to start working out every day, but tomorrow you skip a day. And the more you do this, the less self-respect you have for yourself, because you're showing yourself that you are too mentally weak to even follow through on your own words, on your own promises. So you lose respect for yourself and your self-esteem goes down. If you want to improve it, you just reverse the thing. Whenever you say you're going to do something, you absolutely do it. If you say you're running every single day for the next 30 days, you run every single day without skipping a day. And after those 30 days, your self-respect and your self-esteem has gotten up a lot, because now you have shown yourself that you can actually do these things, that you are actually disciplined, and you have respected your own word and respected yourself. Again, higher self-respect, higher self-esteem, immune to insults, higher confidence, and everything else that comes with self-esteem. Now, if you want to also learn different ways that you can also improve your self-esteem, and once you improve it, take it to an even higher level, and of course with that improve your confidence and your social skills and your game with girls, you can check out the first link in the description. That is where you will find my course, which is where I have put absolutely every single piece of information that I have learned in the last 3.5 years that I have been studying and working and learning about this topic. If you found this video helpful, I think you'll find a lot of value in this video right here. Click on the subscribe button and do the work.